Well, let's do a mic check. Can you hear me okay in the very back?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Buenas tardes, El Paso.
Buenas tardes.
It is such a treat to be here with you all, but I want to say a big thank you to two particular groups. All of you de aquí, del El Paso, de Texas, and the surrounding areas, mil gracias por estar aquí, porque today is a day that none of us will ever forget. And it's because we're going to be part of history making today in a way that you can take pride in. So when you talk to your family this evening, you're going to say, today I felt, I saw, I touched, I cried, I smiled because of what offering you received today. So I want to say to all of you who helped organize this, and I can't not say enough gracias a mis comadrecitas, right? Corinne and Liz, can we give them a round of applause? Música es medicina. It is how we have treated, healed, cared for our souls, our spirits, porque la música speaks to us. Personally, it sometimes tells our story. And it's a storytelling that is so powerful that we believe the lyrics and that song speaks to us. When music touches your heart and your soul, you are in the journey and in the process of healing. And in my profession, healing is the most important thing in my business. And we know what the business is to love, care, and have compassion for other human beings. This is a life of service, and today we get to be here present with an individual who has such impact on our lives. His music has helped us heal, it's helped us laugh, it's made us cry, it made us fall in love with our first love. You know, hombre.
You think? Me a few times.
Yeah. And all of that to say is that, and music can make us laugh, because the stories are not just about pain and sorrow, traición, things of that sort. What they are is each song has a meaning and a purpose. And Little Joe has been the author of our stories, of his life, and today we're going to have that journey with him today. And all I can say is this is going to be an exciting opportunity for us to get to know him in a very deep way. Porque conocemos las canciones, right? We know the songs. We have albums at home tucked away. We have our little CDs. But all of that to say, now let's give all of that the meaning that comes from the person who sang to us every time those songs were sung to us across not just Texas, the United States, but across the globe. He is an international star, and he should have won 16 Emmys instead of just 5. Because you know what? He poured himself into every note, into every song, at every event, big or small, throughout his entire life. So we're going to go back in time with 3 songs, and we're going to talk about 3 particular songs. He knows how important this is. His life has been the key to many people to remedy, heal, and resolve many of the issues, because la música es medicina. And so with that, I'd like just to ask if we can cue up the first song, because in the first song, it's a way to start to get this journey started. So I'm going to ask our AV team to key up the first song, which is Prieta Linda, and we're going to do an excerpt.
Hace tiempo que yo guardo un sentimiento
Thank you. But Little Joe, you sing it in a way like nobody else can. That song has a meaning for you. You pour yourself into that song every time you sing it. I saw you at a performance just recently, and you know what? That was Little Joe when he was 23. And you know what? No has cambiado, hombre. Thank you for being here with us, and tell us more about Prieta Linda.
Thank you, about cambiado. I've been trying to improve, Fred. 23. That's only, what, 60 years ago. I'm a young 83, but I'm happy and blessed to be here with all of you folks. Prieta Linda, what an amazing song. I love songs. I love all music, but the songs that I prefer for me to sing are songs with profound lyrics, haunting melodies. Day, night, evening, you wake up and that melody is there with you, you know. Or just as you said about sentimiento, a lyric here or there, you know, que no se te borra de la mente ever. You know, and I was in Houston, and Cuco Sanchez was in town, and I was invited to his concert, and met with him after the performance. I was just a kid, but during this concert, he sang that song, Prieta Linda. I had heard it, but didn't have any way to find the lyrics to it, and he sang it, and I noticed the response from the people, from the audience, you know. And then it was just so amazing how they were so just engrossed in the song, and of course, Cuco being Cuco Sanchez. But then on TV, I saw Don Pedro Vargas sing Prieta Linda, and the audience were crying, you know, and this was long before I recorded it. And years later, I would record the song and get that effect from the audiences, men and women actually crying. And sometimes I cry along with them because I don't only have, music is magic. I have no other way of, it's just magic that happens, you know. And music gives me such a freedom that I never feel otherwise. I mean, just totally free from everything. You know, I'm just in my own total space. I'm completely aware of all that's going around. I stay in control of the audience, whether it's 20 and everything that's happening with the band. But I'm free and I feel like I'm floating. Esa es el alma, el sentimiento de la música. And Prieta Linda is certainly one of those songs that brings that out on me, in me. They all do to some degree, but that's an incredible, beautiful song.
The way you do it expresses something, and thank you for saying something. What he just said to us was that both women and men cry.
True.
You remember that song, Hombres no deben de llorar? Remember that one? Well, we grew up believing we shouldn't cry, right? But I've lost many dear friends and families, members, and I decided that I was going to grieve immediately, and I started to make sure that I would express my pain by crying, to make sure that my loved one knew that I was feeling the pain. Because the pain that we feel is something that we get to choose what to do with. We can hold on to that pain, or we can let it go, or we can keep it, or hold on to it for years. I decided I was going to cry to release that pain. But you can cry by being happy.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Or in love.
Tears of joy. Yeah. You know, from crying is such an incredible healing process. and I've experienced it many times. Today's Wednesday, Monday. My dear friend, compadre Gonzalez, who forms Sarapa Records, who was most instrumental person in the industry for Música Tejana, which was called Onda before, just passed away Monday. His wife called me and told me that he was in a 24-hour hospice watch. And he would have been 95 in September. And we had a friendship of just love and trust for over 63 years. The album Por un Amor was Un Zarape. That was my first album with Judge Gonzalez. And I went to visit with him, and he was he had already made plans because no cerraba. He was a 95-year-old man, a serious business, beautiful person, but the little boy in him never left him. He was always, so that he had humor always, and it was always fun being around him. And he was making plans to go to my show at the end of the month at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth. He lives in Dallas. And when his wife called me, I just knew I needed to go see him pronto. And I did, and I would talk to him and sing some of the songs that, one of his favorite songs was, "It had to be you, nobody would do," and I would sing that for him. And I could see a response, and he could barely open his eyes. Ya estaba. So that was Monday, about 3 in the afternoon. About 10 in the morning yesterday, he passed away. So, of course, I felt relief holding him and crying, and I need to cry, and I do. I cried for many reasons, but the outcome is the same. It's a release, and I think it's very healthy. So le canté, lloré, said goodbye. But that's been the essence of my life. There's been a lot of trauma, but somehow the joy of life and the blessings and the people heal all that. And as I say, music is magic. Way I'm the singer that people credit me for. But my gift is reaching the people's soul. And I think part of that gift is finding or writing the songs that have that ability. Llegarles al corazón, al alma, Y no importa si es con mariachi, con las dudes I did with the symphony strings, or si es the accordion. It's the delivery of the message, the profound lyrics, and the haunting melodies, and the way they're formulated, that reach la gente, Pero tiene que ser de corazón a corazón, and that connects. If in Tokyo, Japan, I'm singing English and Spanish, and they're glued to it because it's that feeling, and it just covers everyone in the building. So that's really my gift. Not that I'm a good singer. That's it's feel. Es la alma de uno, y es lo que nos cura.
And that feeling in our brain because of what the music is touching in us. But you said something, this is how cultura is part of something very powerful. And you've been promoting nuestra cultura forever. And you said something that was really important, la despedida. Think about when a loved one was at the hospital, and what do we go do? We go visit our loved ones at the hospital. And what do? Les damos la despedida, right? We're saying that farewell so that we can see each other again at some point, if we believe that. But we do because we pour ourselves into that healing because we love that person and we want them to always remember that in their journey, because las despedidas are a very powerful expression of the bonding, the connection you had to that individual. And you always express those emotions in ways that people sometimes may not even know that the lyric you just said had a very deep meaning about an experience you had personally. Can you think of a couple of instances where your own personal experience was written right into the lyric and people may not have known it was about something you experienced?
Oh, most of the songs I've experienced. Me cansé de decirle que yo sin ella me pero me muero. But back to Prieta Linda, I was born and raised in a black neighborhood till the age of 11 or 12 before. So the music in the neighborhood and the little bars, and there were only two families. One family that was that kid, un tío y tía, and mis abuelos, and my dad and mom's family. So all the neighborhood kids were black kids. So by the time I left the hood, the blues was already there in me, you know. So the difference between me doing Pirata Linda and other artists, for me that's a blues song. You know, when I sing the blues, you know what the blues is about, you know. While I'm singing Pirata Linda or Ella, that's what I'm feeling. I'm singing blues in Spanish in that song. And that's why you'll find the country overtones. I don't know if you've heard, you remember hearing Los Campos. Cuando salvan los campos, me acuerdo. That's country. Que culpa tengo has tones of jazz, because I prefer jazz. I mean, I love all music, but if I could be a jazz musician, I would be. I wanted to be a jazz guitarist. That didn't make the grade, fired me. But that's, you know, I have all these different feelings from different genres,
Right.
Pero siempre trato de presentar mi música or mi cultura through the music I perform, no matter where I'm at, because that's who and what I am. And gracias a Dios, very early on, I found out who I am. I know who I am, and that keeps me grounded. And I owe that to my dad. You know, siempre he sabido quién soy. It doesn't matter I'm not confused about who I am,
Right.
which happens a lot to our younger generations, you know. But that's why I do the music the way I do, you know. And but you're so right when a certain word has, you know, just clings to you. And you may not remember nothing de la canción, but it stays with you, you know, you just can't get rid of it. And the other thing about the magic in music is that a little toddler, a 10-month baby, you play music, or a 90, 100-year-old person, music, because you're touching their soul, es el corazón. And I repeat myself, that's my gift, being able to touch the soul of the people, because as a musician or a cantante, well, to me that's beside the point. And I have a tendency, you ask me a 2-minute question, I'll give you a 20-minute answer.
You know, there's another song that has a really deep, special place for you because of your connection with your dad, and of course your entire family.
Sure.
But all of your history, as it led to why music influenced you, was from particular people in your life.
Yes.
And your father, jefito, as we also like to say,
Yes.
padre, el mero, whatever description we use, it's their influence that will stay with you in ways that you sometimes pay tribute to them. And there's a song called Corrido La Cotorra.
That was my dad's nickname, La Cotorra, because he was worse than I, never stopped talking. Well, that particular song, and I always praise my dad, but my mom was the glue that made it work. It was my mom's strength. Because my dad and mom love their kids unconditionally and equally, But the strength of my mom kept the family, glued together. My dad was a great provider, but he was a great a bunch of other things that
Right.
I didn't agree with, but at the time. But I understand now that I've come of this age. But El Corrido de la Cotorra is about my dad's experience when our home was raided, and someone was talking about they came in at midnight. And,
Oh, yeah? Did you have a flashback?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning, somebody's, like they say, fingered my dad. They were expected to find a lot of marijuana in the house.
Right.
So they brought the dogs and they knocked the door down and I was 14 years old and I had my siblings and it was just chaos and my mom was freaking out and they got my dad out of bed and just all the commotion going on. So that scene is embedded in my mind forever. So certain things of certain songs, certain situations in a movie or in a story, I flash back to that, So the song, there's a lyric that says, él solo se echó la culpa y él solo se defendió. Well, I wanted to write a picture of queuing up the song a little early, and a song from my dad, and it took years, not until my first granddaughter was born that I got so overjoyed and inspired, and I got up and I wrote the song in about an hour's time. Just left it there because, some songs that I get inspired in, different moods and times and situations bring me the materials that I need to write the song. But and always my hero, I say. So he never blamed nobody when he had to do his time. He started selling Mary Jane to make an extra dime. So he never blamed nobody when he had to do his time. And without thinking and connected, that's connected to él solo se echó la culpa y él solo se defendió. I never blame nobody. But the magic of music is so amazing. And it's been such an incredible journey for me that I sometimes even feel a little guilty. It's like, why has this been such a blessing for me? That I see others struggling and, wishing or hoping. But I guess I'm not in charge of that. I just accept and doy gracias a Dios all the time. My dad was a good songwriter, and he was just one of those guys that on the spot, he could, write a poem or write a song and write a melody. What I did with this song, I changed the melody up a little bit, what's called the chorus. I changed it, but those were his lyrics, and that was his story. And so many songs are, all the songs I record. I won't record a song if I don't like it, if I don't feel it, just because how can I expect you or anyone to like it if I don't? That's just how I feel about that. But this song about my dad is like, it's It's my story, and it keeps me grounded. It reminds me of who I am. Y por eso I visited many jails, many penitenciarios, who've done fundraising for, there's been organizations for a second chance for people that leave prison, and I understand the families, I understand all those, I'm connected to all that. All of that's an incredible experience for me. All what you would call, oh, that's terrible, that's a bad experience. It may be at the time, but for me, it's an incredible lesson, My opinions or my theories are based on my experience.
Right.
I cannot debate with you something that I think or maybe, or, I can only as far as my knowledge go about whatever the subject may be. Pero that experience with my dad, with the raid and my dad going to prison, I had to grow up at age 15 pronto, and I was the oldest at home. I had 6 siblings to look after. My youngest 2 years old. So that's an incredible experience for a 15-year-old kid. But I am the person I am because of that experience. I guess I could have, well, to each his own. Everybody does what they need to do or want to do. But I was drawn to the familia, to keep the familia, whatever I could to make it better for them. So it's been a great experience, and Dios me ha dado more than I deserve, but the pleasure in sharing is great. It's just, nothing makes me happier than to give.
There's no doubt about it. Then let's talk a little bit more about that, because it's a very powerful experience. Your trajectory changed with your dad.
Sure.
Was detained, and so that trajectory is place that has led to this place in this very moment today.
That was not in my plans when I was a kid.
That's right.
That was not in my plans, but I accepted it, and I'm glad it came. I don't know what my life would have been without that experience, or any of the experiences I've had throughout my life. But I've welcomed them all. And, I believe that we are what we experience. And eso somos la gente que somos por nuestras experiencias.
Yeah, nice stuff. Well, let's go ahead and play this song.
Año del 55, señores, esto pasó. A la ventada, cotorra, mala suerte le tocó.
La mala suerte le tocó, right? His fate and your fate changed
Yes, it did.
in a powerful way. There's a proverb que dice que uno es el arquitecto de su propio destino, right? But your destiny wasn't written in the way, as you said, you expected it to be, right?
Not what I had in mind.
So take us to that point in time, just so we can start to see that the influence you had in your family and to this day, and then when you think about la familia has a bigger definition
Oh, indeed.
than any you could imagine. I mean, just the definition that Little Joe gives to that, it really symbolizes your whole life experience in ways, no?
For me, esta es la familia. I really feel that way.
El suegro, eh?
We're all connected. We're all one. We're one, all one. But I honestly feel all of you as the family. I really, really believe that. I feel it. One thing is to believe, the other is to feel. That's how I feel. When I say, okay, carnal, gracias, you're my brother. But to my family, my siblings, my dad, my mom, and the band, when they come in, the musicians they come into the band, they become family, and some of the biggest, baddest arguments and discussions are within family. So that really glues it even better. You really you get in a fist fight with we're really brothers now. But yeah, when I changed the name from Latiners, both Johnny, my brother Johnny, and I thought long about what do we want to call it. La Familia just kicked, because all my brothers, everybody in the family helped me establish my record companies, and they worked with me in one way or another, supported it. But more than that, I see us as one family.
Yeah.
And no sé cómo we could not believe or think that unless we're just people that isolate ourselves, or that's where the sickness comes in, the mental health and all that, And if you're a mental patient, your family's there for you, or should be. In isolation, you don't want to be part of the family, So for me, when I say family, inclusion, one for all for one.
Ahí está.
And that's what my dad's belief, That's familia.
The family support system is so strong that the family takes care of their loved ones.
Yes.
And particularly if a person has like a mental illness, right?
Yes.
What happens is, unlike many other groups, they don't reject their family members. They don't push them out, right? If you ever think about why they stay home, it's because of the bonding, the love, the way we're raised to take care of each other through the hardest of times. And mental illness is through the hardest of times, right? Just like alcoholism, right? Many of us grew up in families where substance abuse, alcohol was very prevalent.
Mine.
Well, in fact, that's not right. Because imagine every weekend, right, working hard in the cotton fields, and then the time to spend with your family, comienza la música, y tío, trae la guitarra, y luego, before you know it, aquí llega la cerveza, and the dancing starts, but you're pouring yourself into the music, but something else is happening at the same time, right?
Yeah.
After X number of years, right?
Yeah. Well, addiction, and is much better than that, but it's a mental sickness, I know that because one of my younger brothers, Rocky, suffered terribly, really, really bad. I mean, just lost it all, self-respect. And once you lose self-respect, nothing else matters.
Right.
Ya cuando pierdes eso, nothing matters because you don't have that self-respect. You can't. So that's, that's part of my family, But nobody made him an outcast.
Right.
Al contrario,
Yeah, they kept it close.
Oh yeah, and Rocky's an incredible spirit. I love my little brother, and people love him. And when he was on the road, all his recordings they went to hits. But el alcohol, and in our cultura, children, see, dale un traguito, little kids, 5, 6 years old, 4 years old, put a little glass, it's just beer.
Right.
And it is just beer.
Right.
But the bodies react different. And when the alcohol gets a hold of your body and control it, it's the devastation. It's not just the individual, but the family and the friends, and it's just something that people don't see as mental illness, the addiction of any substance, any drug, but alcohol is in the families because it's, hey, anybody can buy a beer, and it's okay for kids to drink it, but once the body succumbs to it. So, you know, Fred, not much in life that I'm not touched by. And, you know, all those experiences, you know. Pero la cultura nuestra, you were saying about how we keep our folks at home now, the younger generations or the new generations, and they can afford it, you know, homes for the rest homes and, you know. But in the old days, you're too young to remember, but they would keep the corpse, the body, at home. Los velaban en la casa. And hacían una tamalada bruta. And everybody ate tamales and get drunk, and the body would be laid, you know. That's where we come from, especially in los ranchos. And by the same token, in los ranchos, you know, just take the furniture out of here and bring the music. And then zacate in the ground, dance, you know. Yeah. So for me, all of that, you know, it's hard to really imagine that there's things that have happened that I haven't experienced.
That's right. That's right. You know, thank you for your candor and sharing all of this, because, you know, sometimes it's hard to talk in front of others about such personal.
I would think that many of us here share that, those experiences. And, you know, I think the difference may be that some of us are willing to talk about it, others not. Some of us want to face it, some of us don't. Some care, some don't, and to each his own. Pero I'm not unique in any way. I mean, pienso que somos lo mismo because we've experienced that one way or another, you know. After all, we're just humans, you know. That's humanity in all of us.
That's right.
And I don't mind talking about it because somewhere along the line, somebody will say, you know, me too. And they'll admit it. Just like when I became diabetic, I'm going around, I'm diabetic, raise your hand if you are. And yeah, don't be ashamed, go see a doctor, check yourself. You know, use it to a positive instead of, oh, I'm diabetic, you know. Same thing with my experiences with my life, you know. It's like, I'm nobody unique. You guys maybe feel special, but I'm not. I'm just a Joe.
In fact, one of the lines that we heard earlier was, les digo a mis amigos, los que les gusta tomar, right? If you find that lyric
Yes.
in there, it is a powerful statement. I want to segue to Las Nubes because you've been so kind to stay with us for this Platica, Little Joe, and I just want to make sure we cover Las Nubes because, my God, it's been called the national anthem, and there's a reason why, right? Your influence for so long means that our kids, our families, todos conocen esa canción, right? And it's the power of influence because you're talking about several things in there. I kind of flash back on a situation when your family left Mexico coming to the United States. I could picture not knowing where their destination would take them.
Right.
Right. And it's very powerful because you really, in those lyrics, are talking about an entire journey that most of us may not even realize as you're singing that song, you know?
Well, you know, that's been 51, 52 years. And again, the delivery, you know, and it's called stacking the voices. You know, when you sing the song and sing it again, record it twice, and stack the voice. And that's part of the original recording. Everything is just special. I love the symphony, I love the strings, you know. So we hired the strings from the Dallas Symphony to play, and to get the real thing, not the keyboards strings, but the actual. And the time, the place, the time in my life, it was a big change for me, going to California, and like shedding the old Joe and a new Joe coming out musically and just think-wise, mind-wise, wanting something different. And the thing is that sometimes we want different things, but we're afraid to try them.
Right.
Or we think, well, it might not work, but it already didn't work. You start thinking, it might not work. No, it didn't. But, you know, I was told by the big time promoters and producers at the time, Joe, la raza no quiere eso, you know. I remember saying, la raza no sabe lo que quiere until you tell them what they want. Show them what they want. Magic time, and when I was in the studio, not because I know all these things, it's just because of gut feeling.
Yeah.
But Johnny and I recorded the song, and they said, do another track, sing it again, and we did. And which one do you want, track 1 or track 2? And on the spot I said, well, how are they so close? Play them together, and they did. I said, that's what I want, 1 and 2. Well, you can't. Yes, I can. I want 1 and 2. That's how that came about.
Is that right?
But that song, half a century ago, what I've learned, it's just so amazing because it continues to grow. YouTube, you see a Japanese kid play guitar, another one singing Las Nubes in English and Spanish in Japan. You know, that's pretty amazing. Also what I've learned is that maybe when you're young, in your 20s, 30s, you don't see life like when you get in your 50s and 60s and 70s. And those lyrics, you know, ya todo se me acabó, no puedo resistir. Si voy a seguir sufriendo, mejor quisiera morir. I sang that to my compadre while I was crying and singing. Ya todo se me acabó. It got to the end. And when you get to the end, there's no makeups. I'll come back and do it later, or let's do it different. That's the end of the road. And as folks gotten older and have kids, they think different about families or themselves. You know, so the lyrics have more meaning. You know, yo voy vagando en el mundo sin saber a dónde ir. That's pretty powerful, because how many of us are lost to the world? When I translated, I made sure I said that. So lost to the world is he. Vamos vagando en el mundo sin saber a dónde ir. You become older, if not you, your siblings, somebody in your family gets lost along the way.
That's right.
You know, and you want to correct their course, y no se puede, and you have to suffer watching them suffer. And that's what Las Nubes is, and that's why it continues to grow. And the more mature the person gets, you know, the more understanding and the more to heart they take those lyrics.
Well, let's listen to those lyrics.
Sure.
And let's get that music clip for Las Nubes and start ready to wind down. Because we also want to...
Did you say wine?
You know, someone was coming to all of a sudden. We got distracted. So if we can have them cue up Las Nubes.
That was very...
Well, ¿sabes qué? I believe at your table you have the lyrics to Las Nubes.
Yes, yes.
We're gonna end today's Platica singing Las Nubes together, because part of that, el regalo that you leave us with is that incredible song, but also for us to remember, you never cease helping others. He'll be in San Antonio, Texas on August the 23rd, performing at the Hyatt Regency on the Riverwalk, and he's helping raise scholarships for Tejano students pursuing a behavioral health degree in the state of Texas. So,
I sincerely believe that the best way you can help yourself is by helping others. I believe that. I think, but that's how my dad believed, Los consejos, as a kid, it's just like the song may not mean, when you're a kid, it means, when you get older, it's different. The lyrics have a different message, or you understand it better. My dad was not a school person, of course, but he told me, try to be honest, try to be fair, but for sure, be kind and respectful. And I try. Porque no nos cuesta nada. But I think that's from my mom and dad. They were very generous people. My dad, lo poco que teníamos, happy to share. No te apures for what you don't have. Be glad for what you have. Don't worry what others have. Don't be envious of that. Be happy for what you do have. And what you have is what you work for, what you get, But todos esos consejos, I try to live by them. They make sense to me, And I like to think that they're paying off. I'm here.
well, what do you want to say to la gente de aquí del Paso before we sing Las Nubes? Because I think we've got like a recorded version of it, and then we'll pull out the music. But qué regalito, qué consejo, what would you like to share with folks here? Because you have been so kind to pay attention, to listen, porque this life story here is our life story. But the beauty of that is apoyarnos uno al otro, for each other, to help each other, but to also ask for help, right? Because then what happens is we can recover, we can get better. And by the way, I couldn't help my brother, but he died from alcoholism. As much as he was mi segundo padre, and as much as I loved him, I couldn't get him to get help. But I never stopped saying, I'll go with you to go get help. Siempre dice, hay que hacer la lucha. And the reason why is because one is, my oldest sister did decide to go for help. She's recovered, and it's proof that we do get better. So, and just kind of say your final words for today. Well, we might just have you come back, quién sabe, pero for today.
¿Por dónde voy? I just want you to know that don't believe a word I said. No, I thank you. I thank all of you for your kindness and for your friendship and for not getting tired of me. I've been coming to this stuff for so many years, and I have to blame Ramiro for that. Ramiro's played a very good part. I wasn't anti-social or anti-system or anything, but I didn't want to do commercials for Schlitz beer. He talked me into it. It was one of the most successful commercials for that beer company. They took us to Milwaukee, the chairman of the board, the president of the company. But here's how dumb I am. My brother Tom, and I don't know if you make that trip with us. So they had a dinner for us, and we flew there and had the dinner. On the way home, we're flying home, and I tell my brother, that was nice of them to invite us to the dinner. He looked at me, Joe, like, but no. That was on your honor. But I have so much Ramiro for it.
He had just become the first Tejano to advertise for a Fortune 500 company, 100 company.
And you did twist my arm, thank you.
Once I changed you.
So I love Ramiro a lot.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think we should pull out our little booklets, and I think we have the music, and we're going to end today's Platica with that, but before the music starts and we start singing together, con el ánimo, porque los tejanos sí saben cómo celebrar, and more important, you also know how to take care of each other. So thank you for being of service to your community, to your families, and to each other. So with that, if we can go ahead and
Turn around.
I recorded it several times. Studio at least 3 times live. And possibly will continue to record it because it just continues to grow daily. It's a song with a message, and it is a song that I played so many times for los campesinos de Cesar Chavez during those years where the struggle was on. And it's very uplifting and with a very good message.
let's all stand up. Párense. Mr. Michael.
Besides, you and I are wired.